Hello, everyone. Welcome to Security Guy After Dark. This is a podcast that I started, a month or so ago, and we've had some really, really awesome guests. With me today is Carla Garcia. I will let her introduce herself, but before we do, every opinion and things that we say on here are those of the guest and the host, not the opinions of our employers, our clients, or anything else. So please don't make our lives difficult. We try to do this to keep people informed and to help people learn about cyber, and please allow us to do so without causing drama for our employers. Carla, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into cyber, because your journey is one of those journeys that is everyone's dream. Like everyone I talk to is trying to do what you did, but you've actually done it. So tell us a little bit about what you did and your journey into cyber.
All right, well, thanks for having me, Rob. This is awesome. I'm glad you're doing this. This is great. Well, first off, I started as a former physical education teacher for elementary school for 8 years. I had done it all, field trips, coaching, athletic director, and I just found like that was it for me. Like I wasn't enjoying myself. It wasn't it. It was just like I was dragging going to work. So I was like, there's something else I have to do. Like, I need to move on. So I always had an interest in like computers, but I couldn't pinpoint what or where to start. So I started watching YouTube videos and trying to figure out what route, where to go. Meanwhile, I was still at school, but I just knew it like on my mind. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get out. And that's what I did. So, I actually started through a program that was I saw on YouTube that was like, oh, you start and in 3 months you would get six figure. I was like, no way, this is it. I jumped on it. And of course, come to it, I did my 3 months. It was a scam. I paid a
No,
thousand dollars and yeah, I learned from that mistake.
$1,000 is better than a lot of people. I've had mentees who've lost 25,000, right, to paying
Right.
for certificates or paying for those places. But $1,000 is a small lesson to learn. Continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So learn through that, and then through that process, I met actually one of the person that was in the video, and actually he was very kind and amazing, and he actually came wrote to me after I asked him like, "Hey, is this okay? Like, what should I be doing?" He's like, and he told me straight up, and I would always thank him for this. He literally told me, "This is not for you. This is not for someone that is starting from scratch and has no idea what they're doing." So he recommended me to a program called Let's Defend, and I did that for like 3 months. And then I started being active. I started being active on LinkedIn. I started seeing many videos and like people and community services, like a whole bunch of things that were there to help people. So I just joined everything. I was on Discord. I was writing to people, messaging everyone just to get in because that was something I always heard. It's about networking. It's about who you know, and you got to put yourself out there. So once I did that, I actually found a program through a Discord group, Raices and Cyber, and it's like for Hispanics and like underrepresented people. And I joined that group, and through that group, I was able to get a free course through Coursera for a Google cybersecurity program. I did that, and I was able to get a discounted to take the Security Plus exam, and I did that, completed that. It was good, learned a lot. It wasn't easy, but I did it. Then after that, I found another program, obviously through LinkedIn. It was called Cyber Florida, and I from with that, that was also a great opportunity for me. And it's like for underrepresented people. And I fit in and I applied and I was accepted. And through that program, I was able to get my Network Plus and my cybersecurity analyst certificates through that program. So that helped me. So now also I knew that you need to put yourself out there in volunteering. So I saw that locally here in Orlando is a group called B-Sides, and many states have them, and I went to volunteer, and I volunteered there. I was just learning. I was like, I have to go out there and see. I have nothing to lose, so I volunteered. Then after volunteering, I was able to access the conference afterwards. So it was great. I was volunteering, amazing. Then one of the speakers there, I also was the is a volunteer coordinator of the B-sides. So she did her speech and I was just like, you know what, I had nothing to lose. I was like, hey, can you be my mentor? And she was like, yes. And I was like, what? I didn't think she was gonna like say yes right away. She's like, oh yeah, just send me a mock of what you would like to get from me. Sent that. That was like on Saturday. On Sunday morning, that was sent. I did not waste any time. This is like an opportunity that I had to jump on. So I wrote to her. We were talking here and there, messaging, just giving an update. I was still doing the course for Cyber Florida, so it was amazing. I was getting in there, studying at the same time. So then in also at the same time, I also met during that time frame. I also met Rob, so he's amazing, and he is my other mentor. So I always picked his brain. He is amazing.
I remember when you reached out and you're like, "Hey, yeah, I see that you're mentoring. Can I set up some time?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me know when you're available." I think I was currently unemployed at that time, and I was just like, I said, "Do you have time now?" And you're like, "Yeah, let's chat." And just your energy was infectious. I started looking at your LinkedIn. You were doing everything right. Everything that I tell my mentees to do, you were already kind of on the right path. And I think I said, I'm not worried about you. It's not a matter of if you're going to get into cyber, it's a matter of when, right? Because
Yes,
I I just knew because you had that I'm not ever going to give up mentality, which I think is really, really important for people trying to get into cyber. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to get a degree and then like I'm just going to magically get a job. Do you even have a cyber degree? Like, did you go to school for cyber at all?
no, I did not. My degree
Right.
is in totally different.
Right, right. It was really interesting for you when we were talking, is making your resume useful for cyber. I thought it was kind of cool how you did that. And we had a lot of conversations kind of around like, where can you use your skills, like your organization skills, your leadership skills? All of those things are core components of what you were doing. And they're also very important within cyber. Have you noticed any overlap in your skill sets since kind of actually landing your first remote cybersecurity gig, which is just amazing?
Yes, I actually have. I definitely have seen that. Like that, it really does. Like you see, you. I remember you always told me this that there's. It's all about transferable skills that you have. You think they do not work in cybersecurity, but you're already doing it just in a different kind of format. So definitely, yes, yes.
What's some of those skills that you've seen that kind of transitioned well into cyber where you're like, oh, I've done this before, but previously I was hurting kids. Now I'm hurting, I'm working an incident or I'm working, analysis.
Right. I think for me, one of the biggest one is organization skills. That right there is like number one for me that I've noticed, at least personally for the way I work. I think that's like top notch. Like I'm able to see what I'm gonna do. I know my schedule, what I need to accomplish. Like all of that is set. So that's like the biggest thing for me. Um, Something else also a communication is key. So I think our communication here is amazing, so that's top two for me. We're always communicating. It's like open. It's an open policy. Like if you need help, my colleagues are there to help me. Like it's amazing. It's really good. Yeah,
I mean,
top
I,
two.
I I love your story because it shows that it does happen, right?
Yeah,
I've talked to so many people and they're like, hey, I'm looking to do a career pivot. And I'm like, okay, here's what you need to do. You basically need to donate all of your free time to doing this. And
yes,
you need to basically be posting on LinkedIn, really engaging. I know you had opportunities for interviews just because of a post. Somebody saw a
correct.
post and they said, hey, I like what you're saying. Do you have a few minutes to talk? And one of the things that really made me realize almost immediately is that you jumped on it immediately.
Right.
There was zero delay. I was like, hey, can you send me your resume? I'll take a look at it. Boom, I had it in like 3 seconds, right? You're in, and I told you, hey, this isn't good. Here's what my thoughts are. You're like, awesome, let me change it. We looked
Yes.
at your LinkedIn, you said, awesome, let me change it. And you jumped on those things immediately. And I think that malleableness is really important. I don't even know if it's a real word, but it is today. But I feel like being flexible is part of the career path. And one of the things that you talked about, those transferable skills, is your soft skills.
Yes.
Those are the difference between an amazing cybersecurity person and a subpar one. Because if you are a regular kind of engineer who can't talk to people, I know I'm stereotyping, I am one, so it's okay. Like, if you don't work on those soft skills, I literally have spent a decade to be able to have this podcast or to be able to do mentoring just because I was so uncomfortable by it. I think that is the difference right now between getting a job and not getting a job is your soft skills are marketable, your technical skills are nice to have, which is crazy because we've switched from like I want the smartest technical person to like I
Mhm.
want the person who can hang with our team and I'll teach them technical.
Agreed.
When you came into your new job, what was it like for you? What's the work-life balance like? How have things been kind of since taking all of that new responsibility on? I know it's been an interesting ride and we haven't really talked, so I thought it would be cool if we did it live.
Yeah, awesome. Well, work-life balance, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Honestly, it's like great. Like I said, like you have the schedule. You see what time I see what time I need to have my first meeting. I attend my meeting. After I do my meetings, I'm pretty much on my own working on my project.
Yeah.
And that's it. If I need help, I reach out to one of my colleagues, I write them a message, and then we get on a Zoom and they help me out. So that's great. Obviously in the beginning, imposter syndrome, I had it max to the max,
Yeah.
totally brand new. But honestly, since I've started, I've noticed that I have grown, and it's still there. Don't get me wrong, it's still there, but it's way less than how I felt before. Just because of like how kind and my team is really there to help me out and like get me better and like wants me to grow. So that is, I feel great. I honestly feel great in the position that I'm in, and every day I'm learning. It's never like it's not the way, well, at least the way I work. I'm not just like, okay, it's work time, I'm done. No, even after work, I'm still trying to watch YouTube videos to get better, trying to learn
Yeah.
different things that we're doing on our job. Like there's different programs that we're using. I'm actually making sure that I'm on YouTube watching, asking questions. I'm just being involved as much as I can because it's just always changing. Cybersecurity is always growing. There's always something new, and you just have to be ready. You have to be ready.
Yeah, I mean they say cyber never sleeps, and I think it's true for all of us because we all have this I don't know, innate drive and sickness for knowledge. Like, I'm gonna date myself. There's an 80 movie called Short Circuit, and the first thing the robot does when he gets like sentience is like he starts getting more input and more knowledge, and they're just like he's reading all these books and things, and that's very much how we are. Like we just constantly need to learn. I read security news every moment that I have downtime. Um, I will say that during my layoff, I definitely got more of an addiction to social media because it's that kind of, and for me with ADHD, I got that dopamine rush watching videos over and over again. Like it's been a hard habit to break to get back into the cycle of work life where you're, when you have downtime, reading about the latest threats,
Mhm.
reading about the things that are coming. And then, like you said, taking that initiative to go look out. One of the most important things, and I want everyone kind of listening to this to understand, your environment is non-typical, and that's sad. Because they've created an environment for you that you feel safe to fail, because they've been
Right.
created an environment for you that you feel supported, you
Yes.
don't have imposter syndrome as bad as all of us did when we first started our career. And that is
Correct.
beautiful. I hope other companies kind of take note. What company do you work for? Because I want others to know.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I work for Greylog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely awesome. Gray log, top marks if this is how we're treating our new people. Because creating an environment that fosters this kind of just openness and willingness to share and help expand lets people grow exponentially faster because they don't question their own limits. You've only been doing it for what, 8 months? Something like that? Or
Yeah.
less?
Yeah, less than that.
Right.
5, I believe. Yeah.
And you're already where I was at 10 years in my career from a mental standpoint.
Right.
I had that mental block and that fear of failure for a decade because that was the environment that I was in. Like you create these kind of standards for yourself. And I love that they've created this environment where you feel comfortable to fail, you feel comfortable to grow, you know you have support. That
Yes.
is amazing. Those jobs exist. They're
Yes.
just rare. And I love the fact that you've kind of hit that. So from what I've heard, really you think the key to kind of all the success is just putting yourself out there, right? And just
Yes. Yes.
engaging with people.
Yes.
Um,
Reaching out. Yes.
yeah. Oh, the thing that was interesting to me is like you mentioned, like, hey, you saw a random talk, and then you said, hey, lady I just watched, will you be my mentor?
Yep.
That skill, and it is a skill to be able to go up to a complete stranger and say, hey, can I have some of your time to make myself better? Because it's like one of the more selfish things that you can do is like, hey, person I don't know, will you dedicate time to making me better? And I love it because I'm only successful in my career because of mentors I've had. I'm only a good leader because of the mentors I've had. I will argue too that I've learned a lot from failure, and I've
Right.
also learned a lot from really bad leaders because you learn what you don't want to do. Like, I love the fact that your first stint in cyber is at just this lovely company who's taking care
Yes.
of you, who's enabling you, because then when you move to your next company, or maybe you move up in that company, you're going to keep the goodness going, right?
Right.
What's some other stuff that you do, that you think kind of has helped you? Obviously, YouTube University, which I think all of us non-degree having cyber people do. But what are some other things that you've done? You mentioned B-sides. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Oh, it's awesome. It's coming up soon, actually, October 18th and 19th of this year. And I actually it's great. It's like a community for everyone to come out and check it out and be involved with the community and meet others and network. And there are like so many opportunities. And honestly, like that's what honestly helped me get the job because I put myself out there and actually my boss now is also a volunteer at B-Sides. So it's just how crazy how the world works. Like my boss right now also is a volunteer, and I met him there as well.
It's those connections that you don't realize that kind of can really fundamentally change your life. I got this job that I currently have at Global Payments because one of my people followed my channel was like, "Hey, did you apply for this role?" And that was it. They said, and I was like, "No, but I know the hiring manager because I had worked with them on another role that I didn't end up taking." Um, that's awesome. Right? And it's that kind of momentum that you can get from social media and the way that you can make those connections that you just never really realized they were, like the fact that you're both volunteers now.
Yes.
um are you do you do any sort of like looking, like now that you've kind of gotten to where you are you also looking to kind of mentor others? Are you working with other people? Like, have you had anyone approach you and say, hey, how did you do it? Have you had
I
that?
actually have. I actually now that you're saying it, like I haven't put the title to it, but yes, I have had a few people, and I actually have like two right now that I we talk constantly, and I'm telling them, hey, do this or sign up for this program, and I'm sending them resources. That's something that I always said that I'm always going to give back. I know where I came from and how I got where I am right now, that I'm always going to give back. Whoever asks me, I am free. I'm here for you. Any information, I'm here to share.
Yeah, and I think that is what the cybersecurity community is all about.
Yes.
And giving back, kind of taking that time, remembering those who have helped you. I know when I was laid off, every person who checked in with me, all the recruiters who kind of double checked in with me, asked me how I was doing, even though they didn't have a role, just wanted to see how I was. I remember those people. And I remember each one of them who gave their time and tried to help me succeed. And then I remember all of my mentees too, because each one of you were really helpful in my mental state, because helping others was really helping me at the same time, because I was going through some hard stuff. In I think it's wonderful that you've become a mentor without realizing you're a mentor. Like,
Yeah.
until this moment, you're like, yeah, no, I talk with people several times a day, give them advice on stuff. Oh, you mean you mentor?
Yeah.
Which is which is amazing because that is what I love to do. I love when my mentees then become mentors. And like
Yeah.
I hear about, like, I'll meet with someone who will be like, hey, I met with somebody else you've mentored in the past, and they told me this, and I was like, hey, that's my advice. Like, and you're hearing the things that you said and how many people you can affect by just helping one person. So B-Sides is really successful. I mean, looking at cyber, what areas are you focused on now, and what areas do you think you'll be focused on in the future?
That's a great question.
I felt good
Right
about it.
now, yeah, that's a great question. Right now, I'm focusing like on like learning Python, like some programming languages. I think that's what I'm currently working on. In the future, I haven't thought that one through yet, but yeah, that's a great question.
No, I think
I've,
it's and I think it's good that you don't have an answer, and I'll tell you why. Because the landscape develops and moves so quickly, you kind of have to be ready to kind of take on that next thing. You're like, learning Python, I think, is really important. Just having a basic code understanding
mhm,
of Python and other commonly used languages is really important, especially because a lot of them, if you end up doing pen testing or something like that, a lot of the Metasploit modules, a lot of the different things that you're going to be able to do, you want to know what they do. You,
right.
you don't want to run stuff in your environment unless you're actually able to understand the code that you're running. I can tell you, I've seen many people make that mistake where they're running code that they don't truly understand. And then they're like, why is it knocking down my server? It's like, well, you didn't set the parameters correctly, and now you're, DDoSing things. So when you don't know something, what is the first thing that you do as a new person in cyber?
The first thing I would do, either, oof, that's great. That's so many options now.
Yeah.
Either try to Google it, try to reach out to people that I feel already have passed that. Um, yeah, and ask around. Just put like throw your message people on Discord. Hey, throw your question, your message, and just see who responds.
That is the most important lesson any new person can learn is asking questions. When I first joined Disney in cyber, man, was I over my head. I hadn't hacked since bulletin boards and stuff in the 90s. So when they told me that there was a tool called Metasploit and that people could just hack stuff with absolutely no skills, and there was an operating system called Kali Linux that did all this stuff, I was like, wait, what? We're basically handing kids loaded weapons and saying, don't hack stuff? Like, that's crazy to me. But that is another important skill. And I think that comes with those soft skills that we talked about earlier, is like
Yes.
having those soft skills lets you feel comfortable being stupid. And I always say being stupid, but really it's just uneducated and not knowing what's going on. And that's okay. The difference between knowing, what's happening and just being an idiot is, have you been told it before and did you simply ignore it? If you have, then you're probably dumb. If you haven't, you're just uneducated, and that's okay because you can always get smarter. But there's no risk to asking those questions. And I see so many people who are afraid to ask those basic questions because they're afraid of looking stupid. Have you ever kind of felt stupid asking a question?
Of course.
And how did you handle it? I'm just curious because you said you were deep in imposter syndrome for those several few months. Like,
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I would just be like, oh, I'll ask the question. I'm like, oh, I knew that. Oh, never mind. But it was just always, this is like, I guess, like, just confirming that I knew what I was speaking about, but I needed to hear it for someone else. I feel like that's what it was.
yeah,
A
I
reassuring myself.
yeah, and I think that's key too, right? We go in with that lack of self-confidence, and then
Hmm.
we constantly need reassurance.
Yes.
Which is funny because we've put hundreds of hours into researching, we've done all of this stuff, but we still don't believe we know what's going on. And I think when you're new specifically, it becomes a lot more difficult to discern, do I not know this? Or 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 do should I know this and I don't, and I'm afraid to ask, right?
Right.
It's like
Yes.
it's like at my level, I should I know this because I'm scared to talk about it. I think it becomes exponentially harder too as you start to get promoted. You get that you get that senior title, and then you're like, God, does a senior person ask questions like this? Um, and and I will tell you, yeah, like I don't know everything. And even when people are interviewing with me, I don't expect you to know everything that I ask you. What I expect you to know is what you don't know and be very confident about the fact that you don't know.
All right.
Like I gave advice to someone one time and they made it to the final round of interviews and the director said, how many IP addresses are in a /16? And then my buddy told me, he goes, you popped into my mind and you told me just to bluntly
Yeah.
say, I don't know. And he goes, I don't know. I could look it up, but I have no idea off the top of my head. And the the president or director like kind of paused the conversation. He goes, I'm just going to stop you right there. My my buddy said, I was cursing you because I thought you just cost me the job. And he goes, thank you for just saying you don't know something. I think that is a really powerful statement to say, I don't know. And it's even more powerful to say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And
Right.
and I feel like we sometimes chase things and we sometimes kind of push ourselves in a direction that doesn't make sense because we're just so afraid of saying we don't know something.
That is
And
100% accurate.
yeah. And it sounds like you've done the exact opposite. You've just kind of owned it and just like I'm the
Yeah.
new person.
Yeah.
And and they've created such an amazing environment there that you're just like, yeah, whatever. Like it's all good if I don't know something,
Yeah.
they'll help me out.
That's exactly how I feel. I honestly feel like that. Like I'm like, hey, I need help. Hey, can you help me here?
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. Hey, I need help. I need help. I just say, hey, I got stuck here. I need some help. I just
Yeah.
reach out. I have nothing to lose. I rather know than be the person behind breaking my head. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'd rather just ask. I just ask.
It seems so simple, but it's amazing how many people refuse to do that because a lot of these environments are they create a very competitive environment.
Yes.
And then when somebody asks questions, they instantly feel that anything they say in the future will no longer be validated because everyone will think they're stupid.
Right.
Like they just create that situation. I mean, you've probably seen something similar in sports, right? Like you have that one person who's like really good at doing jump
Yeah.
shots, and then like, they may be terrible at free throws, and then, somebody will be like, yeah, I'm not gonna ask them for advice on my long
Yes.
game. Like, I'm just not even gonna. They may have gotten way better. But the reality is no one will ever know because they just put that person in a box. They say that person is this and can't ever
Yep.
change.
Right.
And I find it interesting because within cyber we do very similar where we kind of make a snap judgment on someone and then that never changes. It's like it's something I think all of us do unconsciously, and it's something I have to actively really think about. Like, is this something I've been pre-exposed to where I'm responding based on that? Or is the response I'm giving actually relevant to the conversation? Because a lot of times our past traumas, our past situations will dictate how we respond in the current. And it's interesting to me that you're in this environment that's just kind of this lovely fairy tale compared to like
Yes.
so many others. Uh, I, I'm so thoroughly happy about that because it couldn't have happened to a better person. Um, the fact that you decided after many years in physical education that I'm just done with this, I'm gonna go do something else.
Yes.
Um, I thought was so cool. And when I talked to you, it was unshakable. I told you the environment was terrible. I told you that there's going to be 1,700 people who are applying for entry-level roles. And you're like, yeah, you know what? That's fine. Like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, um, What advice do you have? And you really kind of adapted and overcame a lot of those different things. So like looking back at what you've learned through your cyber journey, and we've got, just maybe about 5 more minutes here before we wrap up. What are some advice that you give to kind of those new people, things that like you wish you would have known that you maybe figured out later? Or just things that you think are just paramount to getting an opportunity within cyber.
Well, one thing's for sure. This is, you taught me this. This journey is not a sprint, is a marathon.
Yeah.
You have to take it step by step. You cannot rush this process, and you have to put yourself and set that time. Hey, I'm gonna do this and I'm focused and I'm gonna get this done. And just do what you can and plug away and just be positive because like you said, like the competition is really hard, especially nowadays. So you just gotta be positive and do your part and try to be great at what you want to do and what you like to do and just do better. And that's the biggest thing that I could say. And obviously, put yourself out there, speak to others, ask questions. Everyone here, it might sound intimidating, but people will respond to you if you ask. Like you, it doesn't hurt. Like the worst thing that can happen, somebody won't respond, but you reach out to someone else, and that person will respond.
Yeah. I sent out 2,900 messages when I was unemployed.
Wow.
I connected with every single person manually. Trust me, I tried to use automation at first, and then LinkedIn's like, "You've been banned." And I was like, "Oh no, I can't have that happen. I need this stupid network to be able to get my job." Um, and it was really interesting to me because my recruiters and everyone was like, "Hey, LinkedIn is really important now. It is no
Mhm.
longer like people are going to look at your profile. They're going to look at your profile before they even talk to you. So make sure it's tight. Make sure that your profile is that first impression that you want to make that makes people want to talk to you. One of the pieces of advice I gave you is I looked at your LinkedIn about section and I said, "You are a diverse, awesome woman, and you're doing this crazy, amazing stuff, and your about section is just so basic. Like,
Yep.
talk about yourself." Like, um, and you went back and you rewrote it and you changed it into something I just found really interesting when you talked about your journey, kind of, and why you decided to get into cyber and why you're changing careers and like what, some of those skills. So I recommend anyone listening to look up Carla's LinkedIn and look at her about section and look at the way she represents herself, in the banner and things of that nature. All of those things are incredibly, incredibly clever. And that I think is the big difference is being able to not only put yourself out there, but also making sure that your digital self is represented in a way that you are proud of in
Right.
in a way that represents who you are truly. I can't tell you how many basic about sections I read a day that are like, "I'm fastidious cybersecurity or aspiring cybersecurity professional." I think that's what yours says, aspiring cybersecurity
Yeah, that's
professional.
what it sounds.
And I was like, look, I've read like 40 of these today. But I mean, I sent out all of those messages. Did I get all the responses back? No. But what I did when you send those messages out, and that goes for anyone listening, is when you send those messages out, you create what I call brand advocates. People who are going to look out for you and your brand. They're going to be like, man, Carla's super awesome. I want to try to help her find a job. And they'll start sending you opportunities. You got to interview at UPS, you got to interview at some other
Yes.
places just because you put in the time. Make sure that you're making those connections. Um, I love that a lot of the advice I gave you, you took instantly. I love that it was so successful for you. But the biggest thing to keep in mind, it's not going to be successful for everyone. It's
Right.
not going to be instant wins. Like you said, it's a marathon. It's not a race. And coming right out of school or getting some certs and then finding a job is incredibly
Yes.
rare. But it does happen. I'm actually going to meet with other mentees too and talk to them to share their journeys. And I imagine all of them are going to share a very common bond and trend, which is they put themselves out there. They
Yes.
constantly worked with people. They constantly tried to challenge themselves. Um, and they weren't afraid to fail and they weren't afraid to look ignorant. And I think that is just a beautiful thing. And I thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure for me being part of your journey. And then hopefully your story will inspire others. Hopefully other people listening to this will reach out. We now have over 100 subscribers to the podcast after only a week or two, so that's super cool.
Awesome.
But I hope you keep doing what you're doing because it's amazing and helping others and giving back and the fact that you're still doing B-sides when you already reached your goal, the fact that you're still doing mentoring when you've already reached your goal is the difference between a cyber professional and somebody who just is in it for the money. And I
Right.
think that's the biggest key is like if you get into it for the right reasons, yes, there can be good money made. Yes, it's better than most jobs, but there's also a lot of work. So you mentioned your work-life balance, and you're already making the early cyber mistake, which is you're not counting all of the hours you're working outside of work on making yourself better because
Right.
it's not work to us. And
Yes.
that's how these employers get 70 hours a week from us, 80
Yeah.
hours a week. And we don't even realize it because it's not work. We love it. And
Yes.
I think that's the really interesting thing. So the one piece of advice I'll give to you is make sure you're taking on the things that are important to you to grow. Don't take on things just to continue to look like you belong. A lot of what I did early in my career is I just kept taking opportunity after opportunity, and I'm doing the job of three or four people. Sure, that's great, but my work-life balance started to go down, 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 down. And then the
Right.
more time I would be spending working after hours, the more time, and it becomes an exponential thing where even though you're not suffering too deeply from imposter syndrome, there's also this motivation to constantly push yourself. And what
Yes.
I will say is cool your jets. There is plenty of time. And it takes it just like the job took, a long time to get, and it was a marathon to kind of get there. Like how long was it from like starting this journey to finding a job in cyber? Was it over a
Two
year or
years.
longer?
2 years.
2 years. Right.
2 years. I started in
And,
2022 is when I was like, all right, I am on this, and I started. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a good number. Is 2 years is what you're looking at on average to see any sort of gains from your
Yeah.
work. And it takes a while for that stuff to spread. It takes a while for people to get to know you. But awesome. Thank you so much, Carla, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And please, anyone listening, subscribe, whatever those people do. I have no idea. But yeah, listen more. And I'm happy to keep doing these things. And thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yep.